Meet Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus, they tell us, is the son of Timaeus. He's Timothy Jr., Little Timmy, if you will. Meet Brother Bartimaeus. The word tells us that he comes across a parade as it is leaving Jericho and on its way to Jerusalem, following this itinerant preacher named Jesus, who says that he has an appointment with the cross, but the cross won't hold him, because if they kill him 3 days later, he will rise again to live forevermore. Meet this brother named Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus, the record tells us, has a problem. He's not like other men in his territory, for the word said that he is blind. We don't know how he became blind. All we know is when we meet little Timmy is blind. And I want to pause right there, because so often we read quickly past this issue of blindness and fit it into our 21st century American mindset, where we believe that a person's illness or handicap is based on their function in our society. You know, and I know that when we know that there is a physical ailment, then we who are of the society began to make concessions, if you will, and so we have handicap parking, and so we have to make special arrangement on our jobs for those persons who have some sort of handicap, because we believe the handicap is about the function. Not so in the mind of first century Mediterranean believer or persons. For these in their society, they believed that a handicap had to do with your status. For you see, if you were blind, if you were ailing, if you were crippled, if you were handicapped, then it automatically meant you were poor, because you could not go out and make your own money. But worse than that, it was according to social status, because those persons were excluded from worship in the temple. And if you can't worship in the temple in our culture, then you are not included, in the upper crust, if you will, in the upwardly mobile, if you will, of our society. Look closely at Bartimaeus, Timmy's boy, Timmy Jr., and you will recognize, sisters and brothers, that not only is his condition social, but I would suggest to you that it was probably preventable. Again, let me put forth the preface, if you will, that we don't know why Bartimaeus was blind, but if he's like most of the other people who were blind in his day, his blindness was preventable. For you see, they lived in an arid, dry, windy part of the world, and in their day, sand and trash blew all around, and inevitably the sand and the trash would get into one's eyes. Now, if you were rich or of means or connected to the upper crust, then those persons would get you the necessary medicine or salve that could heal your ailment. But because if you were poor or a peasant in that day and did not have the right connections or the right money, then you couldn't buy the necessary medicines or salve, and so your eye, the trash in your eye soon led to an infection, and when an infection is not dealt with, then sooner or later the infection would lead to blindness. And so I would suggest to you, sisters and brothers, that this sort of situation was preventable only if those who were of means, those who had the resources, were not so selfish and greedy as to keep their means to themselves, but to share with a brother or sister who was hurting and who was in need. I would say to you that this situation was preventable. Yes, and the situation in today is preventable. There are many who are suffering needlessly, yes, and even dying from preventable situations. If only our government will recognize that you can't privatize health care in this country and exclude those who can't pour into the system. God said it is our charge that we should take care of those who can't take care of themselves. You still not feeling me yet, so can I tell you, baby, that maybe you ought to stretch your imagination of this blindness situation beyond just the physical sight. For I would tell you there are many who are blind and walking around, and perhaps they don't even know it. May I walk through a few? Are you walking with me in here? Let's see. Yes, when a brother or sister can't see that education is important and they're keeping their children out of school
school or show up at the school at 10:30 and expect little Johnny to know how to read. That's blindness, baby. When you find a brother or sister a young brother or sister who thinks that the mark of manhood, yes, is to have a record with the correctional system, or a sister thinks she can't be loved unless she open her legs to some young boy that don't love her so she can have a baby so somebody can love her. That's blindness, dear heart. When those who have the means are so selfish and greedy, yes, that they be sure to grease the pockets of politicians to make sure that they keep their means. May I tell you, dear heart, that is blindness. And I started out by telling you it's all preventable, and I still say it is all preventable. It's preventable if those who know better would speak up and those who don't know better would listen every now and then. It's preventable if you would get your lazy behind out of bed and go get a job and take care of the children that you making. I just came to tell you there is some blindness that's preventable. Are we still walking together in here? And so this brother is blind. Little Timmy got a problem because he's blind. And the record lets us know that between Jericho and Jerusalem is where they placed him every day so he could beg. Because Jericho was known as a rich town, and there were many people who traversed between Jericho and Jerusalem every day. And so there he is, blind and begging. And the parade comes his way. Here's this Jesus that has passed through Jerusalem. And as he's passing through, more and more people start to follow. Now you got to understand that even in this day, nobody wanted the blind beggars hanging out on the streets, begging folk where the good people had to pass by. Y'all not feeling me yet. Nobody wanted blind beggars on the streets where the good people had to pass by and had to deal. Y'all still not feeling me yet. I suppose if it were Baton Rouge in the 21st century, they'd build a bridge over a railroad track because maybe blind Bartimaeus would be hanging out by that railroad track. If this were Baton Rouge in the 21st century, maybe the mayor would sign a decree so that they'd go under the bridge and remove all of those who don't have any other warm place to sleep. Kick them out and don't care where they go, because nobody wants to put up with Bartimaeus. But somebody must have messed up, because in the street sweep, Bartimaeus slipped through the cracks. And there he is, Jesus and his procession on their way. There he is, begging, and he heard the voice of Jesus. Can we keep going in here? Anybody walking with me yet? And the word said, check this out, he began to yell out, Jesus, the Son of David, have mercy on me. Y'all walking with me in here? Don't miss this, because I'm going to bless you. He's hollering out, Jesus, the Son of David, have mercy on me. And the crowd tells him, be quiet. Because don't nobody want to see you with your poor begging self. Be quiet. You can't help yourself, and I ain't much trying to help you. Be quiet. And I am afraid, sisters and brothers, that we live in a world today where even those of us who claim Jesus as our Christ would have been right along with that crowd telling Bartimaeus, be quiet. But I love it because it says the more they tried to tell him to be quiet, the more he yelled out. Listen, you can't let what other people say stop you from doing what you know you need to do for yourself. I know I'm right, because if there's one way that people try to discourage and dissuade you from hanging on to the truth that you know the Lord has pronounced over you, is through their communication, through their speech, through what they say about you. I know I'm right. If they want to turn you around, if they want to make you think that you didn't hear the Lord right, if they want you to quit, then they'll just begin to talk about you. And I got another one for you. They may not say it to your face, baby, but they'll say it to someone to make sure it gets back to you. I wish I had one or two that'll say amen. If they want to discourage you, they will do it through their mouth. They will say things like, you don't know what you're talking about. They will say things like, you better be quiet because don't nobody want to hear all of that noise. But I got a word for you, dear heart. If you know you have the truth, if you know you right and can't nobody change your mind, when they tell you be quiet, you just holler out the more. Somebody say, don't close your mouth.